We're live.
Right. Good morning, because Bitcoiners, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check. I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Will's Outlook as well as Tucker. You guys also know him as Hagrid. We could not get my camera working, or at least not yet. So for now, you're just going to see that fat peep or Pepe picture of me from my old Twitter. But we are excited to not be done with the weekend. I, for one, had a great weekend, but I am excited, for this week of charting, this week of markets, and everything else that will entail. I'm going to keep my spiel to intro this this discussion pretty brief. As far as what I'm seeing from equities, there's really not, too much to dissect, right? We started out the day green, at least as far as futures go yesterday. We went red overnight, and so far during New York session, we have gone back comfortably green, at least on Qs. We're going to have to see how that transpires throughout the week. But it wouldn't surprise me to see some choppiness back and forth today as we kind of set the weekly range. As far as Bitcoin goes, we honestly had a decent little pump this morning. So Alts especially caught a really nice bid, even though Bitcoin dominance is up. There are a few alts, they're up 9 or 10%, like INJ. But yeah, no, I guess the question for me, now that we've kind of retraced this pump on Bitcoin, is where to transact next, at least as far as if you're a trader. We have our bags of spot acquired already. We're looking for plays to continue to play the trend on Bitcoin, which at the moment appears like it wants to trade higher. So, we are looking to identify that local low, or the best place to get on board with that trade, to continue capturing upside opportunities while still maintaining minimal downside. But ETH as far as ETH goes, it's a much more murky picture, I think, because we have a lot of things that are really suppressing the volatility in that market. And every time it looks like ETH is starting to perk up, I've been watching it, and a few times I've even traded it, and by the next day, all of that relative strength disappeared. So I continue to be perplexed by ETH especially, and its weakness, but that doesn't mean that, if Bitcoin made new yearly highs already this year, that there could be a window where ETH could catch that bid. And I say that because we look at altcoins, right, guys, and there have been a lot more speculative assets, at least in the crypto market, pumping over the weekend and over the last few days than there had been on the Bitcoin pump, which, I found interesting and not totally surprising, as we see people starting to rotate capital out of Bitcoin. It is funny, as I said, that Bitcoin dominance is green, but we are finally seeing some of these rotations into beta, or at least maybe that's a bit myopic on my part. Maybe it's just beta kind of in my corner, but I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing strength in certain assets, right? Like we had the DeFi pump over the weekend. We had, like I said, we have INJ pumping today. Link ETH especially, like Link on the Ethereum pair looks pretty bullish to me. Just things that could potentially signal, I don't know, maybe a bit more of a risk on bid, on-chain assets as well, not to be forgotten. But I'm gonna get right into the discussion, guys. Will, how are you interpreting this week? In the midst of kind of, I guess, some equity choppiness, some Bitcoin choppiness. We're still, I know you have a long list of things that you're looking to play. Is this the type of week where, we take a lot of patience in viewing the market and wait for the setup to present itself, or do you expect the conditions that we've kind of seen over the last 6 to 8 weeks to persist?
I don't know. I think it's more of a complex answer, to be honest with you. I think it just all depends on how you're positioned. If you're positioned in spot, I think from the 25K range, I think you're pretty good, right? You're in a good position. I think that, there's good potential to be safe in these zones, to possibly even spot bid. We've discussed this before, and I've talked about it in the past. There's good potential, if they run higher than my anticipated position. Let's say they push through 35, push into the 40s. I would anticipate they might even push up for the 50s at that point. They do that, our floor could be 30. And, that would be our structured pullback. So, like, buying here would be great buying opportunity, right? You can buy here a couple times at least, here now and at the revisit. If they don't, and they top out kind of where I think they're going to top out, which is, somewhere in the 35K range, there's good potential that we pull back into the 20s, lower 20s, and you'll get a better buying opportunity. But again, I think like the biggest thing, and I think this is what a lot of people come to us for specifically, or at least try to come to us for, is not necessarily trading advice as much. And this is what you see with a lot across the board. You get a lot of people that I guess some people trade and most people spot buy, right? So they try to take trader positions on spot buys, and that's like the worst approach possible. But where we're at right now, like I wouldn't really consider this a place where I would be trying to spot bid. I think spot bidding at the lows was your best opportunity. Just like spot bidding at the lows here was your best opportunity. So it all depends on your perspective, really, at the end of the day. But for me, I think a lot of things have already moved. We're seeing a good pullback across the board on all alts, except for Nakamoto games, of course. Something mentioned, literally a couple weeks ago in one of the meetings. So I just want to bring that up. Not a lot of resistance here. So like this is something that's just chatting through. Looks really good, strong structure. I talked about this falling wedge, or not falling wedge, but falling channel, bullish channel.
You
right?
need a screen share for you, Will?
Oh, am I not screen sharing? Oh, my bad. I've been sitting here articulating, pointing at the screen.
Yes. I like the sound of your voice.
So Nakamoto is something that I talked about literally a week ago. And if you got in, you got in. I talked about it at the lows here. You're talking like 19 cents. You're up 2x right now on your position. One thing I would say, like if you're in crypto, you're a Bitcoin max, that's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. I'll tell you this, if you took the position, so you played the position, you think that all altcoins are vaporware, you still 2x your money, right? So if you think Bitcoin is the only option for you, that's okay too. You take that 2x position and put it back in your Bitcoin. I tell people all the time, like, look, you can continue to shave as prices go up if you don't feel comfortable in what you're in. But as long as price action's there, follow the price action. Yeah, I mean, like, as far as assets go, man, it was a pretty decent pullback this morning, but it looks like things are already picking back up. What I'm seeing here, you got a lot of dojis playing right now. You got a lot of things that were super bullish already moving back up to the upper ranges. Arguably, you've got floors continuing to hold, right? And I'm not here trying to promote a bunch of projects. I'm just showing people kind of like what we're seeing structurally, in a market. And I would arguably say this is a great example right here. And I'm not trying to say like buy ICP or promote ICP, whatever, right? I'm trying to show people from a chart perspective how things look. Like I would almost argue we're like in the middle of the circle, right? The middle of the circle out. It's a really strong market right now. You're looking at strong pricing on strength. It means every time you retest the lows, you get more and more buys. That's what rising strength indicates. And you got stochastics that are sitting here at lows, right? You got a lot of things that are just sold into the floor, still looking for bottom buyers. And, I think that they will perform great. And there's just so much value out there, in my opinion, that's just continuing to be ignored. And I think it's really not a good thing for people to necessarily do that. OX, there you go. I mean,
Oh, I was literally just looking at this chart. It looks insane.
Unbelievable.
I actually just
breakout.
The floodgates are
breakout.
open.
I mean, come on, guys. Like we point this stuff out on a daily basis. Continue to try and provide value for people. So if you guys could hit the like, and possibly comment, that would be great. Just a little plug in there, because we come in here, we do this daily, we work for you guys, try to make sure you guys are making money. Like this is perfect example.
If that's not vertical accumulation, I don't know what it is, bro. Look at that. Jesus Christ. Look at the 4 hour.
I mean, boom. I mean, you even on the higher time frames, you're seeing it right there.
Zoom out a little bit.
It's structured long.
Just
into a
It
breakout.
looks even better if you turn log off, man.
Let's turn log off.
Insane without log.
It's the same thing. I mean, you did have a little bit of a breakdown right here, but you got right back above it, right? That's the part that people always tend to ignore. They ignore the fact that you got back above value, right? That's always the biggest part. Yeah. All right. So did we get this posted? Also,
this thing's about to pull a fucking 3x from here, like soon.
I mean, it's low cap. And again, we're not in here trying to entice people into buying things. All we're trying to do is show you guys the market, show you guys where the value is, where liquidity is getting ready to move, all that good stuff.
This is going to be such a hated rally during the bull market. Like, people are going to be livid at that pump, man. they're gonna fade it too.
Look at Casma.
Oh,
Look at
man.
Casma. Where's
I
that
love
gonna go?
channels on altcoins that haven't broken. There aren't many. There really are not many.
I mean, I can't make it any more obvious, right? Like, that's a long swing up. That's a long swing up. So, man, I can sit here and point stuff out all day, and the reality is there's money to be made in these markets, man. Even as bearish as things are, I think things are bearish as far as from a economical standpoint or economic standpoint from macro standpoint, but liquidity is there, guys. Like you can sit there and be as bearish as you want, but you deny liquidity, you're denying yourself, a good place. Here's the marathon breakout. We talked about this like a week ago. I told you guys it was tightening. Pulled over to the trend. What did it do? Boom! Straight off the trend, straight up. Hitting resistance, pulling back. Now this pullback for me, I'm gonna tell you guys, look, this looks super bearish, right? Looks super bearish. See how this candle body is here? That candle body will soon be here, and this will be the wick, and it will push through. Watch, give it another week or two. This thing's gonna turn right back up, and it's gonna break through this resistance.
Somebody posted about Mara on Twitter. Apparently, like Bollinger Bands are historically a very high hit rate on them, and we're outside of the upper bound, so we're going to mean revert probably, and I don't know what we do from there, but it makes sense with your idea that we mean revert a little bit, and then we could go.
Yeah, and then push. Now, granted, they could hold this into a doji too, right? And then open the next week and push on that. So this could happen a couple different ways, but I think that this is that spot, right? And a lot of people, they get faked out by these pullbacks and think this thing's going to turn into a full-on fallout. Nobody came in and pushed that much liquidity in to get liquidated. And when I say liquidated, I mean just spot position, right? They didn't come in and dump all this money into Mara, expecting Mara to come right back on. They're eating through the upside sellers. Look. Eat through the upside sellers, let them sell down. Eat through the upside sellers, let them sell down. Eat through the upside sellers, and if you notice, they got way deep here. Here, they didn't really get as far, right? Sellers couldn't push as hard as they did over here. So you're getting a weakening of sellers, and price is actually able to build against the bears on this position to the upside. This, for me, bull div right here, this is a move that's literally looking to do this. That's what it's doing. It is building out the foundation. This is what you call the foundation, right? The foundation of the move. It's building out the foundation, and once it gets out of that foundation, there's no coming back to this price. Like that's your floor now. This foundation high will be your floor.
So, Will, what do you think we should expect into the end of the month here with a lot of these more speculative plays? And not necessarily into June, I should rephrase that, more into the end of July.
Honestly, and I had this discussion the other day with some of my followers, and I was just like, man, this market is crazy. And honestly, I think the bottom's in for the market, man. And when I say bottom, you can say, well, I missed the bottom on Bitcoin. Okay. Did you miss the bottom on Algorand? Did you miss the bottom on ICP? Did you miss the bottom on Mara? Did you miss it? Because arguably, what I'm pointing out here, Mara, is this foundation is the bottom, right? A lot of people sit there and they talk about oh, bottom's here. No, the bottom is what the market has created for a solid consolidation range, right? Your consolidation range is your bottom range. And then from your consolidation range, you break out from there, and that now becomes support. So for me, like this is still the buying opportunity of a lifetime here, even though some people buy $3, $4. And if you've been DCAing, like this is a solid position to be having. But I would tell you this too: if we look up here, something like Rivian, did you miss the bottom? Arguably, you're still at the bottom, right? And I mean the bottom. And now here's the thing: I'm not calling for bottoms of trend because these trends can always fall out at some point or whatnot, so on and so forth. But what I'm saying is like value is there. People look for it, right? So again, my expectations are with this market is that the market's going to go up. I'm continuing to buy things that are or we'll say undervalued versus things that are at value or overvalued, right? I'm looking for undervalued. So yeah, I think the majority of that's going to be found in the small cap sector and potentially some of it in the medium cap sector. But in the high cap sector, those can continue to trend however they're trending. And I don't think that that's going to be a profitable position from, we'll say, a growth standpoint, if you're looking for growth in a sense. Palantir, another one too. I think a lot of people are expecting Palantir to come back and eat this entire move. You're completely offside, in my opinion, if you think that's going to happen. Like, I don't see that happening at all. I think where we are is you're low, and you can see it right here. And Palantir's as low as in for right now. I think it rips back up again. We can see it in the next months, weeks, whatever. But you still have time. You still have time. Now, what I mean by time is we talked about it this morning. Tucker says it's too early, but I'll just poke at it a little bit. is tax loss harvesting, but that happens more towards the end of the year. So you still have time until that happens. So outside of that, there's no other bearish catalyst I can think of. Like absolutely not. I don't know what's your perspective on that, Tucker?
On tax loss harvesting?
No, just on the markets in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like what you're talking about, and I've kind of employed the same strategy, at least with Rivian and Innovix and a few other ones that I think a lot of them look pretty floored. And a lot of those guys that have been chasing NVIDIA and QQQ all year will just rotate into small caps, which we've been seeing. Obviously, like some of it's a little bit manipulated through call buying and, just derivatives. But I think spot is buying down here for sure. So, but that's kind of what I think in terms of equities. Like I sent a picture in the Discord just now, the HUT chart. The HUT chart just looks fantastic. I don't know. I mean, I think...
Did you see the news on that?
What? What'd they do? Oh, no. Something bad happened?
So, HUT made an official announcement regarding its entry into credit agreement worth $50 million with Coinbase.
HUT, yeah, secures $50 million credit facility. Great. Good stuff. That is just fine with me. Yeah, I mean... I think you could probably buy 275 probably today. I don't know if you're gonna get $2 again. Not ever, but like in the short term, I don't know if you're gonna get $2 again.
Could be ever.
Could be ever. I mean, I sent that chart in the Discord. That weekly money flow across looks juicy. I mean, Jesus Christ! The last time it did it. It went from like, what did it do? It went from literally, $1 to 12. Hit a little 12x. Now, obviously I don't think we're about to just come and rip a 12x right now, but I mean it's good for upside. It looks good for upside. I'll say that. But you do need to start seeing some absolute Chad candles happening like as soon as possible if you want to see that kind of play out the way it did last time. But yeah, I mean, just talking about Bitcoin, like I like Bitcoin here. I like Bitcoin for like another 1,000 points up from here. I don't know. We should talk about Bitcoin though, because I think I don't know. I was like convincing myself the other day. I was like, you know what? I could see 35K because the last two they both weren't the top, right? We had one FTX lows. The top was 20% after the candle close. The one we had in March, the top was 10% higher than the candle close, the Chad candle close, right? So I don't know if we're cutting in half and I should do 5% higher, or if I should take the mean and say 15% higher. Because if I take 15, then you're looking at 35K, which lines up with the monthly FVG, which lines up with the CME gap, lines up as a third drive. You know what I mean? Like
lines up with resistance.
Yeah. The third drive
all the way from back here.
25. Okay, the top was 22% higher, and the second drive from the third drive. We take that. I mean, that would be like 38K. I don't know if we get all the way there, but yeah. I mean, there's a case to be made for 35K. Even if we pull back to like 28.6, honestly, like I could see this weekly candle being to like a wick to 31.5 and then closing at like 29.2, and then next week's candle is just a fucking Chad to 35K. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's in an interesting spot because it could be the top. Like we did kind of SFP the high, right? Like this could be the top, and we're just longing the top. But just given what we've seen so far this year, I tend to think we go higher from specifically right here. But
I mean, I'll say I'm not long at the top. Just so you know.
No, I know.
About 8.
Yeah. No, I'm just.
Even if this is like the top, I don't think the stops at the high are safe. Like, even if this is like going to be a topping pattern, I don't think stops are safe. No way.
Here's my thoughts. If, let's say this is the top, it's going to slowly back down. You'll get plenty of notice before you get wrecked on your position, right? It's going to do one of these again, but here's what I think is going to happen here. They're either going to just Chad right through this, right? It's going to be that, or they're going to do a small structured pullback. People are going to be looking for price to come back down here to lows, and then they're going to rip again, right? And that would be the fake out move if they wanted to do that. So that would be a multi-week drag, not as deep as here, right? That's just in swiping at liquidity, swiping at previous liquidity.
Was there volume?
Before they leave people behind.
Was there volume on that Chad candle? Like
no, none. No volume.
What are you on? Binance?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, Binance. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Look at the ball.
I know. Right, I know. I was about to say I didn't know if you're on Binance US or not.
Yeah, there's no volume. Look at that. That's this isn't US. This is regular Binance.
Yeah. Interesting.
No volume, but like if you look at this one right here, this was your first pump, right? This was your second pump, and look how much liquidity pumped in here. Now, do you know why there's no volume here? There's a lot of volume here. I can tell you.
I mean, you're weakening, though. Each pump is getting weaker. Damn.
It is, but I can tell you why there's no volume.
Why?
Because Binance turned off the wash trading button.
Yeah.
There's no selling. So they don't have to pump as much liquidity through sellers. Does that make sense?
And the second one is compared to the first one?
The second one, so this one they had to push through a lot of sellers, right? And then it kind of floated up and then rolled back. The second one, they had to push through even more sellers. Look, this is non-believers, This is non-believers 2.0. This is, oh shit, I need to be buying. Right?
Yeah, that's why the third
So
drive will be the top.
Painting a grim picture, Will.
Exactly. That's been my whole point from the beginning, bro. That's been my whole 35K thesis. Is that third drive would get bears on the side of bulls, and it will pull that market straight back from there. Right? That'll be your big retrace. You can tell by vol. You can always tell by volume whether or not you're on the right side of the trade. Right? And a lot of bears are going to buy the stop. A lot of them are. And you know what those bears are going to do? Those same bears that said they were macro analysts / professionals / know what they're talking about are going to see that structured pullback and they're going to start selling into it. Right? And they're going to create part of the selling pressure, expecting prices to come all the way down here or something. And that structured pullback is going to hit 35K, and it's going to probably come back to ADC like around the 2, right? It's going to be around the 1s. Sorry, this is your 1. So it'll probably ADC back to the 1, and if not to the 1, it'll ADC back to the low end of the 2. One of those 2 areas. I would start my bids here, and then if we get down here, I would finish my bids, right? Because I think that this will be the low end of the move, and it's a bigger structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into a bigger structure.
It does look, in my opinion, like when I see this entire move this year, it looks like a much slower version of the 2019 move that we had. Like 2019, it was, less liquid,
boom,
much quicker, and then bleed. But I think we could be playing out essentially the same thing, but over a longer time frame, which it kind of fits the theme for the super cycle, if you will. Which I think I think we're in the midst of like that cyclical reset right now. Looking at Bitcoin dominance to be able to, get back towards, a time where speculation in the entire space makes sense. But I don't know when exactly that is.
Yeah, you can see over here in 19, they pretty much recaptured the low here, right? They recaptured the low. They even, like, this was just a liquidity dip, right? But the real move was right above here, which recaptured the low of the 1. So this is your 1, and they came. Oh, sorry, this is the low right here. So they did tap into the low, but it was quick, right? Big wick. So 1, 2, 3 drive right there, and you can tell your 1's small, right? Your 2 is big. That's usually your 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your 3 here is small again. And then you start structuring back down from there. Now they came in and they tested 2. So if they were to come to the top of the 2, and they were to end there, then it would be somewhere in here. That would be my expectation right here. So it'd be 25K, anywhere all the way down to 19K is where I think that the structure pullback would be. But yeah. This is it, man. Like you can look, vol all day. It'll tell you exactly what's going on in the chart. A lot of people are gonna get played here. A lot.
I see while we've been having this discussion, Will, that the Qs have gone back to almost 0.5% red.
Yeah. Wow.
Decent day intraday volatility going on right now.
Well, it's the same thing here. Remember, I told you this was your reversal position right here. This is your high, and when I say reverse, I don't mean like the market's going to reverse, but like this is where your structural pullback will occur, right? This is your capitulation event, and now you've recaptured the entire capitulation. The market needs to cool down before the market can move up again. That's basically it. It's a very interesting move here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Qs need to come down a lot more. honestly. If they break 361 right here, they're gonna flush. Probably another
Yeah.
$3, 3 points. I'm sorry.
I think if they
On the low
break,
time frame.
I think if they break 360, you're looking at a move all the way back down to 340.
Yeah.
There's really no support until there. And you can see here the second they broke out of this position, they just blew up, right? And the 340 makes sense because everybody will be looking for them to completely recapture the move, but they're not going to. They're going to flip back up off this and hit the high. Kind of an interesting move they made here with the Qs, in my opinion. Very interesting. I was anticipating a rollover into a breakout. They just went for it, right? Shot straight through. So now, we're going to get the rollover now versus earlier. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's a small pullback into a breakout. Okay, if we're in a super, look, I can be on board with these type of moves if QE is involved and low interest rates. If QE is involved in low interest rates, this would make sense all day long, right? I'll structure pull back to a little bit lower and then break out, right? Because you've got a lot of liquidity flow and it makes sense at that point. But right now we don't have
that huge FBG on the weekly right down there that we could technically trade into.
Right in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. And there's also the gap that got filled over here.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
There's a lot here, right? So, it makes sense. And this is the thing. This will be a big shakeout. Because bears will be rallying, saying the market's done. Right? They will step in hard. They'll this thing's done. I'm shorting it. And you know where they're going to short? Anybody know where they're going to short here?
The low.
They're going to short the low.
Where else?
Guaranteed they're going to short the low. Guaranteed. And
It's okay, Will. I marked not for
As is
children
tradition.
on the broadcast. It's fine.
All right, sounds good.
Tucker, what are you seeing on equities right now as far as from a technical standpoint?
Yeah. So I can't share my screen, but I can. Will just mirror my words with your charts.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, I had this fractal drawn that looks pretty identical to the August 22 high. Honestly, it looks pretty damn similar. Which brings us down to 430, even 425 ish. I know there's a gap down at 423 on SPY. But I mean, it's just been sell the rip for the last week and a half. So I'm thinking if we keep selling here today, I mean, yeah, there's no FVGs there. Yeah, I'm looking for 430, on the dot, pretty much. This is a pretty nasty wick on the 4-hour. My momentum stuff is kind of peaked and turning down, so I think we need to come down and consolidate a little bit. I mean, the fact that they opened it flat, or no, they opened down and then they chatted up to 434.68 and then nuked it, it's pretty bearish, and the VIX is trying to expand. It's not getting a whole lot of ground, but it's made back up what it gave back this morning, because it was up 5%. Yeah, 1477. So I don't know. I'm thinking there'll be if you're favoring longs, I'm thinking there'll be bids for beta lower. Even looking at Hut and Mara, I think they continue to pull back here probably. Probably Google as well. I was saying earlier, if SPY can hold here and kind of form a base, these things are worth a bid, right here this morning on our Giga Chat call. But with SPY looking the way it is, I mean, I'm thinking I wouldn't want to necessarily short here. If you're not short from above 440, you probably should not get short right now. But I would look to buy 430s on SPY, and then so think of it like Bitcoin. Like if Bitcoin goes to 30K, I'm getting long ETH, right? Like if SPY goes to 430, I'm probably getting long Rivian, Amazon, Google, whatever. So wherever they're at when SPY gets to that price. So yeah, I mean I'm favoring lower. I want to see how the day closes, obviously, but I mean 430 from here is like what? It's like 70 basis points away, so that's not really calling for anything huge, but that would be the area to reevaluate, is that little consolidation from 430 to 426, because then you got that gap a little bit lower. So yeah, I favored down until 426. What's up, Will?
What do you make of oil here?
I see you've got a nice rounded bottom drawn on there. What is that? What's it at? 69? What was the low? 65? Was that a wick to 65?
Let's call it down to 63.71.
I mean, so.
But I want you to keep in mind, look.
Yeah, no, I know. That's support been tested many times. I mean, I'd want to see a market structure break. I want to see a higher high, probably, if you want confirmation of it. And I don't really know. I know there's a ton of fundamental catalysts for oil, right? Which I'm not an expert on, so I'd personally stay away from it. But it's a lot of tests of demand. And I know they're trying to keep oil propped, partially by crushing the VIX, I believe, and that's kind of a tinfoil hat theory that I have not said out loud on the show before, but that I've seen from some guys I respect on Twitter, actually. So I don't know. I think they're trying to keep it propped by smashing the VIX. I think if the VIX breaks free of 14 handle, I think you're gonna see equities and oil probably nuke together. But I think it's too dangerous of a place to try to place a trade. I mean, I guess if you're like multi-decade time frame or multi-year time frame, like you could get long here, but I just don't know enough about it, honestly.
So yeah, no, I for sure think so too. Well, here's what I think. I think oil continues to trend here. We continue to hold support, and the thesis is too is that we're kind of holding above previous price action over here. Whatever the tinfoil hat theory is, it is. But from a price standpoint, I think that it continues to hold and swoops back up later on. 2025, 2026. I think when we see that uninversion of the yield curve, oil spikes again, and we revisit inflation again in a couple of years. Okay, maybe that's a little bit tinfoil hat too, but that's my thoughts on oil specifically. One other thing too I wanted to point out, and I think a lot of people don't point this out, especially bears, man. Bears talk so much like they understand VIX. But if you look here at VIX, what's been the low for the VIX? The lowest point?
What?
Either one of you, Snorlax or Haggard.
90? Oh, you're talking about all time?
Oh, dude, I've thought about this. There's no reason it shouldn't go below 12. In my opinion, like it should definitely go for that level you have marked out at like 11.5.
Yeah. This is a solid.
I saw Trader SZ. I saw Trader SZ put a target for like 9.8 or 9.9, something crazy like that.
It could because if you look here too, where he's talking about, I don't know why this is doing this weird stuff. Where he's talking about is like this lower end, right? The lower end of the band here, but. I'm talking about the more steady position across the board, which is this floor, right? I really like this floor. It's hit all the way across. But like VIX can continue to get crushed. There's no reason it can't. There's literally zero reason. Because here's the thing. The trend was what here? It was up, right? Which way is the trend going directionally now? It's reversed. And I think this is the biggest problem with a lot of people's theses, because I was wrong on this too. I thought rip. I was like, okay, looking for another ripper. And there'll be another dump. Boom. VIX went the other way. my trend was broken. And this is another reason why I changed my thesis completely. Changed it completely from bear. I was like, nope. I was like, VIX is going the other way. We're creating lower lows. We're losing floors. We're moving directionally this way, right? And you'll see this too. Here's the funny part about these directional this way. Look how long this can drag, right? Look how long this drug for. So, like, really in reality, this could easily just drag out for a long time into 2030 before we structurally see it flip into a environment to where it's very destructive to the market. So something to keep an eye on, but I think we're heading this way. Doesn't mean we won't see volatility, right? Because I would say when you're getting into headwinds, you're looking at something like this. When you're getting into headwinds again over here, look, 00 to 01, you're looking at something like this. You're in this upper ranges. When you start getting above, I would say 18, 19, when you're structurally above that, you have pretty good odds to start spiking, and spiking is bad, right? That's your sell-off positions. So anytime you're below 18, 19, you're in a market that is favorable to upside. And it can continue to trend lower. I mean, our lowest position here on VIX was 8.6. 8.6.
When was that? 2017. Okay, I get, Volmageddon
And
wasn't
07.
that far away from that, so
Now,
it makes
yes, but here's the issue. It also happened in 06, 07. Right? So we could be on this cycle versus this cycle, which means we're on the edge or the precipice of a real freaking breakdown in the market. Right? This is your 07 going into 08, 09, and the market freaks out completely. And I think this is where we're at, right? We're heading directionally this way. It's favorable for upside. But once you start getting into these dangerously low positions on VIX where vol is just so crushed that directionally it has nowhere to go but up. And if you push the vol this deep, you're gonna get bad results. Really, really bad results. So we'll see how it plays. 17, same thing over here. 18, boom, right?
Volmageddon,
19,
man.
boom. And then 21, because your 21 was your cool off period, kind of, right? That was your middle market in here before the drop.
What do you guys think about IWM today? Because I know it opened very green and it's retraced a decent chunk of its move, or did it open red? I'm not sure. It seems like it's had a pretty decent bit of intraday volatility, but since we played those calls, I will say one thing: it's totally retraced and more from where we played those calls. So,
yeah, no, it opened down a little bit. It opened down, and then it's chatting, and it got up to 182, but it's still green on the day, which is interesting. It's actually very interesting.
it doesn't look that bad, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Why the hell is IWM green right now? That should be the title of the video.
Why is IWM green?
Literally.
I mean, it's interesting looking. I don't think Russell really has any. I don't know why nobody wants to bid Russell. Nobody.
They're bidding it right now.
I mean, just look at it though. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's all it's been doing.
Yeah.
For me, that's a continuation pattern, but I mean, we'll see. They might reverse it back up. If they can get above here, boom, it's a move back out, right? But they need to get above this downtrend of highs. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's look at packs real quick. Literally doing nothing.
I don't think
look at
UM looks that good still on a higher time frame. I still think it looks totally fried.
Which
But if
one?
it does get a breakout, it's we are in full blown risk on conditions.
You talking about Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Uh, yeah, that's function X. Have gold. There it is. So here's the gold play. I was like, all right, we're gonna break out. Boom. No, triple top. So now we'll see where this goes. Interesting times though. Interesting times.
The bankers will never let gold break out, man.
So,
Jamie
bro,
Dimon's holding it down, brother.
ridiculous. It's honestly freaking ridiculous. Triple top. You're gonna sell it at the high. The suppression on that is just insane. Uh, yeah, man. I mean, across the board, we're looking okay. Like, I think, okay. I'll just kind of give an overview. I think the stock market's in a structured pullback, and I think crypto's looking to rip, right? And this is what I consistently say when I say there's a constant ebbs and flows between stock market and crypto. It's always there, right? One's moving, the other one's not, or both moving together. But either way, they're in correlation of liquidity.
Will, where do you think Bitcoin's going in the next hour?
Hold on, let me break it down. I mean, directionally, I think it's already had its pullback. I think it's going up, but we'll pull it down to a lower time frame.
15-minute, brother.
I don't really like the hour, man. Use the 4 hour. I mean, look at that stochastic, bro.
Let it rip.
Pretty floored.
Let it rip.
Look above the 50 on the RSI. That means it'll use the 50 as support. Like this is gonna go up.
Oh, let it Chad. Come
I mean, you've already bounced the floor multiple times right here.
on. Let's see.
Where are you gonna go?
Drop lower. Let's go lower. Your time frames don't go low enough.
It's an hour. What do you mean? What do you want? 15 minute?
I want the 15 second, Will.
All right, hold
So
on.
he's
We'll,
looking at
we'll
the
go.
1 second chart.
Yeah.
We'll go to 1 minute. Every minute you get a reaction now.
It's just so much. It makes you feel
Look at that.
alive, Will.
Makes you feel makes you feel like jumping in and getting wrecked.
Oh, I'm already in and I'm green, brother. I'm green. I've been button mashing while we've been on the show.
Yeah, I mean structurally, like this is your play right here, and it's we're back above it again. They broke below it, fake people into the position, and then ripped right back above it. So yeah, I mean 4 hour looks really good for chatting upside, man. And this is I like the higher. I wouldn't even say 4 hours higher time frame, but I like this time frame. They can sit here and chop this all they want, but the reality is, it's like you're on the floor. Your reversal is going to happen back up on these lower time frames, moving into higher time frames. Even 8 hour. Look at 8 hour. What's that?
Yeah, but that 8 hour is less bullish for me than the lower. Go to like the
Yeah, the 4 hour, 1 hour.
two.
I mean, the two looks like it wants to run.
Yeah, but I don't like this big white candle we're getting here.
I mean, if it runs, it's probably just going to eat the candle itself.
It better. That's where you're stopping.
And if it eats the candle itself, then to rip higher makes sense. You're back above the 52. I don't know. There's room. There's room, right? Um, but we are testing over here, so like you don't know what sentiment is like over here, right? Because sentiment over here could be, oh man, we're gonna reverse double top, and that's what I think the market's thinking, right? The market is thinking that, but the market maker is going to move the opposite direction of the market.
No,
So if the market stick, because
listen to this. I'm in a couple like random discords with people who trade, and I pretty much use them the way that I use one of my lists on Twitter as like a perma fade indicator, and they were all shorting hard the bounce that happened last night, and I was like, okay, we're going higher. Like this is like people for sure think this is the top.
They do, 100%. I mean, if you were to look at this non-objectively, say you just open this chart, you've never looked at Bitcoin before, you open this chart and you see this top and you see this top, what's your first thought?
Double top.
Double top, right? But if you look at liquidity and you look at the market as a whole and you understand how a double top works, you know that if a double top is in play, right, when you hit this liquidity zone, you are going to reject fast and hard immediately, right? You're not going to float price there. You're going to hit it and you're just going to dump off of it. Has any dump occurred? No, no dump has occurred. The market is continuing to hold this high, telling me they're going to play people into shorts here, and then they're going to go up.
And then they're gonna go
So
straight
I let it to him.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's where they'll trap everybody back down structurally
Yeah.
and wreck everybody. And you could see that they're going to come back down based on higher time frame volume, right? The higher time frame volume is where you could tell, okay, they're going to come back down because there's no vol, there's no sellers here. That's why, like, if you are shorting this, I think you were wrong. I really do. Could I be wrong? Sure, but like, there needs to be volume to say, okay, we can look for a short, or we're looking to break down, or we're looking to consolidate. Any of those three, right? But because there's no volume, it tells me the move still has legs. It just does. There's no volume, so the move still has legs. That means that it's gonna push through. They didn't just let it bleed down to here and reverse it to just stop it out here, because they did, they would have already eaten this whole candle. And we'd be back here at the lows, and people would be bidding and be like, "Oh yeah, let's go ahead and long here," and then the market would structurally be breaking down.
Well, it's only been about 12 hours since this candle opened on the weekly. But
No, but you would have gotten a faster and a harder rejection when you retap the high.
we did bounce pretty good from 30. Yeah, I'll say that.
And if you look here, all you've got is a doji with baby wicks on both sides. There's really not a lot of conviction to sell here. You've got no vol, right? And if you got no volume, that means people are not selling. They're not selling here. And that was the issue here. That's why I said structurally here, you're looking to reverse back up, because why? Look at volume. Look at volume.
So the one reason that could cause bearishness, what does BNB look like? You know, the only potential seller of Bitcoin could be CZ, right?
Well, I think that'll happen, but it'll happen higher, right?
Oh God, is that a SPAC, Will?
Well, this is FUB, bro.
Is that a SPAC?
No, it's a company that's completely obliterated.
Jeez.
They got wrecked in the bear run, man, and they have not recovered.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
Look, this let me show you what they sell real quick. Hold on. This is their company. I mean, the videos look cool. I don't know if people want to pay $20K for that though. That's basically it. That's Arcimoto. I'm just watching it because I'm big on the EV trade, man. I think EVs, government incentives, like these guys are going to make out. Not necessarily these guys, but electric vehicles. Maybe these guys. We'll see. Okay, you want to see BNB, right? Let's see. Here's this is Perps right here.
How's she looking?
Let me go to. Oof, I don't like that breakdown, I'm not gonna lie, but I do like the support here. Let's see. I think I got a BNB, another one. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, same thing here. Man, it was building long and it broke the trend. So now the question is it in a reversal? Right? And the only way to tell that is we need to break support here. You break support there, you're probably going to trend all the way back down to the trend line, which is like right in here, right? Wherever that may be. $100 or whatever. Could continue to chat here sideways. I doubt, interested parties will be interested in doing that. At least traders. And if you look at vol though, look at volume. Are there sellers? That's the question. Are there sellers? Nobody's touching this coin. If it moves up or it moves down, it's artificial, in my opinion, based on volume alone. There's no volume at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only buyer or seller is basically CZ, man. That's how it's been.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the case since BNB stopped going up, man. Like, who else would buy BNB at $600?
I honestly like. Some people would say that's tinfoil hat. I wouldn't say that at all. I'm pretty much like on board with that whole point because man, this is it's insane that vol is so low and that a capitulation event has not occurred. So it's almost like, the reason price is where it is because of CZ, and so nobody's selling because nobody bought the top of this. Because CZ made the top, right? And CZ made the floor. So CZ is probably the only buyer up here. Like prior buyers to this were probably down in here before CZ pumped it. And anybody left in it is still there from here. So they're not willing to sell here. They're still in profit.
Or they've already sold, man.
Or they've already sold. Yep.
Like, why would they buy back in?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, if you made money on this play from the lows, like, I wouldn't come back to this thing at all. I'd move on with that money to something better.
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly to that.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with this one. I don't know. I'm split on it. I'm not here to like, and I know a lot of people like you just hate on CDA, but I don't pray on anybody in crypto's downfall, guys. So just want to make sure that that's very well known. I don't think any of us do.
Yeah, absolutely
but
not.
You have to definitely pay attention to liquidity and understand like, if there's no trading volume, that's a questionable thing to be in. Because it means that your interest isn't there, right? Your buyer interest is low. But dropping trader volume is always good because it means interest is low. And if you're dropping in price and dropping trader volume at the same time, it means that your downside is limited and you're probably looking to pop at some point. So like something like this, for instance, we pretty much dropped all the way down in vol. We're at the lows on vol, in my opinion, lowest it's ever been, right, on trading volume. Where directionally can we go from here? I would argue directionally, the only place we can go from here is up. We can continue to trade sideways.
You can pretty much fade descending volume whether price is going up or down.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
price is moving up or down and volume is dropping, it's usually a fade.
Yeah. So well, I would say if volume's dropping and you've been dropping in price, you're probably near a low or a bottom. And if volume is dropping and you've been rising in price, you're probably near a high or a top. Yeah. Right? And that's the way you should always play volume. Is if volume equals interest equals trades. And trades equals, activity, and activity equals money flow. And without those things, you get no money flow. So no money flow means that you're even if pressures are pushing you up in price, They will only be there as long as they last. It's like gravity, right? If you throw a ball up in the air, it can only go so high before it turns back around and comes back down. And that's how vol works. Once you start to see vol come back down, it's kind of hitting those high points on gravity and it's getting ready to reverse.
Well, I'm not
It's more of
sure
a
if
curve.
I'm not sure if that example applies to ticker ELF.
We will look, gravity has just been playing in the favor of L.
Oh my god, bro.
Gravity doesn't exist for Elf,
I
man.
know,
Do you see any red candles? No,
Does not
somebody threw this
exist.
thing extremely hard. This is the hardest thrown ball ever, right? This thing will curve, but it's going to curve like way up here. All right, it's a really hard curve that occurs much later in life for Elf, and this is your pullback. That's your structured pullback right there. That's the shelf they threw it on.
Will.
No, bro, I can't bring myself to do
I
it.
know. I couldn't
No way.
either.
No way, man. Like I am not a chaser, guys. There's no way. None.
Wait, you don't have exposure to this, Will?
I, I do. I did here the start. I ain't putting no more money in this thing. There's no way. Absolutely zero. Like what I have here is all I'm getting. And if this thing breaks down, okay, so be it. But like this was a good pullback. It was the only pullback I saw. And from there it's been up only. So I'm not gonna put more money in this. I don't buy up only. It's not gonna happen.
True. Buy high, sell higher, man. Ancient
Yeah.
Chinese proverb.
You can see it right here on the weekly. Look, see the distribution? Boom. Drop back down. Filled in the reverse hammer, pulled back off, and then went, right? And then you get and then look, I even drew the freaking bull flag here and breakout. Like you could play this thing all the way up. Just if you see a bullish thing on it, just play it. It's not financial advice for those of you watching. Stuff so you guys how this works. And look at volume. It's rising. Volume is rising. It is gaining more interest at these highs. Like this is complete insanity when it comes to stocks. And like if you think Bitcoin did some numbers this year, let me show you some.
The speculators.
423%. You want to know the funny part? This thing's been running since May of 2022. So the entire bear run that everybody was crying that they were losing money, Elf was making money.
Hey, I mean, we've been
Absolutely
saying it's a stock picker's environment, right? It still is. It still is.
There's the
Do you guys have
NVIDIA
any
pullback. Look,
do you guys
called
have
it.
any closing thoughts here, or do you think we should look to wrap things up here pretty soon?
Rivian soon, maybe a couple months. It's gonna happen.
You Rivian, man.
It's gonna happen.
I hope your DeFi ETH token does well. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It just reminds me of the chart, man.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate.
I think it'll pump. I think it'll pump.
I mean, look at this. Like it's just been gaining more and more and more strength the more it's been dropping. And you're starting to get the vol drop now too.
Your stock is high.
You're stuck.
Stochastic.
It is. I agree, but that can cool down, right? That can cool down a little bit of sideways action. Will be good. Same with the RSI. RSI can come all the way back to trend, right? But that again, that could be just sideways action before that occurs. This is why I cut my calls, unfortunately, and I'll be looking to re-enter. I just don't know when right now. I just want to wait for everything to kind of cool down on the chart, stochastic RSI, and I'll probably take position on it then. I got ahead of myself. Look at Palantir though. Lots of room there. Just saying. But yeah, so crypto up, stocks and a structured retrace. That's actually a decent pullback on the weekly. Could see it continue to chop here. I think it does dip to where you're saying there, Tucker. 4,300. Breaks that structurally, gets below 42.71. You're probably going to come deeper. Probably does 41, 45, 41.50, somewhere in there. But I think a lot of this holds, right? I do like the hold here because if it holds here, I mean, structurally, it's going to swoop back up for the highs and grab the highs up here later. And really, we could even kind of trade sideways here before we end up breaking back up. And that makes sense going into 2024, 2025, 2026. Because as we talked about, I'm expecting that an inversion to become an issue for the markets later on down the road. Yeah, that would be my closing thoughts.
Appreciate it, Will. Tucker, do you have anything in closing here before we start to wrap things up?
Not a ton. I mean, I think both equities and crypto are in a bit of a precarious spot right here. It's definitely somewhere I just would not want to get caught off sides, and if you're not already positioned, it's tough for me to say, what the correct thing to do would be here. I don't know. I just there's certain things I want to see from both equities and crypto, and then it's just like everything in trading. Like if these it's an if then. If these conditions are met, then I'll do this. So it's just we're in a weird spot. But yeah, I mean I'm having fun scalping the chop right now. So yeah, I mean that's it for me. Just be safe out there, folks.
Of course, got to be safe as always. I do agree with you, Tucker, that we're in some interesting spots across the board where I feel like, we could see some downside continuation maybe, but, does it ultimately represent just a small pullback before higher prices? I guess we'll see. But yeah, no, I think my base case at this point is that at least Bitcoin is probably going to trade higher than current prices at some point this week, probably, I mean, probably new highs on the year as that sounds more impressive than I guess it would actually be since we're only like 1,000 points away from that. But I definitely think that's a possibility this week. But shout out to our amazing speaker panel as always, guys. And shout out to you guys, the listeners, for tuning in. We appreciate you guys for being here, and your support means the world to us. If you enjoyed our content and you want more intimate access to some of our trading, our charting, everything in between, we've got links in the description of our YouTube video as well as the link tree of our Twitter account. But yeah, guys, good start to the week. Good Monday. Hopefully, I mean, even if we get a tight Monday range, that pretty much sets the stage for some nice volatility later this week. So I'm looking forward to it on the back of last week, as we were kind of saying. But yeah, hopefully you found this show helpful, educational, useful, anything, any one of those. But like I was saying, we really appreciate that you guys tuned in. We'll be back for Market Talk later today. Otherwise, you guys can catch us in our Discord or on Twitter. But yeah, y'all have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll be back. Thanks.